Qualifies in 10th. He's out getting some extra laps, and qualifying is done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have been waiting for. Kyle Holden and Albie Hewins on the front row. Ray Hillhouse, Mark Nelson have the second row. Kevin Reed and Jeff Hinkle on the third row. DJ the Iceman Kenner and Jared Heasley on the fourth row. Gerald Thanos Poole and David Garman rounding out your top 10. Mark the Man Dan Tuma in 11th. Richie West in 12th. Rick Sargent starts in 13th. Wild Bill Percy in 14th. Mike Smith in 15th. Chris Stroop starts 16th. A name we have not seen in a very, very long time. Cheryl Newman is back, starting in 17th. Jason Rome, the Canadian Stig, starting in 18th. Donald Durant starts 19th. Waiting to see if Cheryl does actually take to the grid. We have not seen Cheryl out here in several seasons. Donald Durant is also, there's Durant's now. Seven-eighths of a mile short track where these guys, it's one of the fastest short tracks there is. Does not look like Cheryl is going to take to the grid tonight. Albie Hewins, an amazing qualifying run to be starting up front. We've talked about Albie making his way into the top 10, into playoff, or into 11th place rather, puts himself in playoff contention. Can he capitalize on this starting spot tonight, get a top 5, put himself in a safer position going into Talladega next Sunday? One more lap to green. If you have a favorite driver, make sure you drop in the comments. Tell us who you're cheering for. A lot of the drivers do listen. Love to know their fans are out there watching. Kyle Holden leads them around. Getting ready for the pace car to hit pit road. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Short track racing at its best. Green flag is in the air. They are down and away in Iowa. Oh, Albie ends up way up the track. Will the bump catch him? No, it doesn't, but they are 2 and 3 wide. Holden quickly breaks away. Ray Hillhouse in second. Kevin Reed on the move into third. Mark Nelson in fifth with Jeff Hinkle in sixth. Albie holds on to the top 5 for the moment. A lot of battling mid-pack as guys try and settle themselves in. Wild Bill on his way forward, as well as Canadian Stig up to 15th. Ray Hillhouse battling Kevin Reed for second place. Hillhouse moved back into the top 12 after last week, now looking to secure that spot going into Talladega. Albie Hewen still battling with Jeff Hinkle for fourth. Hinkle backs out, settles into fifth place for the moment. DJ the Iceman Kinner back in seventh, lurking behind Jared Heasley in sixth. Gerald Poole in ninth, Mark Dantuma now to 10th. Richie West now up to 11th, Wild Bill in 12th. Chris Stroop on the move, up 3 spots into 13th. Hey, good evening, Sean. How are you, man? Surprisingly, David Garman lost a lot of spots on the start. He is all the way back into 16th. They are trying like crazy to get 3 wide again toward the back. Albie Hewen's now back on the attack, looking for third from Kevin Reed. Sean, that is awesome, and I know we'll be looking forward to that. Kyle Holden pulling ahead for the moment. Oh, David Gorman had an EOL, had to start from the back after an incident last week. So Garman trying to make up ground after starting at the tail end. Kyle Holden, meanwhile, pulling away from Ray Hillhouse. Kevin Reed settles into third. Jared Heasley now 4 spots into fourth. Albie Hewen's in fifth. Mark Nelson has drifted back to about 8th place as he battles with DJ Kinner. Mark was struggling here in practice. He said, despite being second in points, do not expect this to be a great night for him. Richie West currently running in 10th, up 2 spots, bringing Mark Dantuma with them. Mark currently running in 11th. But they have Chris Stroop right behind in 12th. Chris already up 4 spots. And not far behind, Canadian Stig on the move up 4 spots to 14th. Ray Hillhouse sits in second, Kevin Reed in third, but Holden has already pulled out to a 1 1/4 second lead early in the going. Competition caution tonight, lap 45. The drivers can go 80 to 85 laps on a tank. Could we see somebody pull the strategy move, stretch that fuel a little bit further, and make it from that competition caution to the end of the race? Kevin Reed looks down low. Does he have something here for Hillhouse? Jared Heasley tries to take advantage on the high side. Hillhouse went way up the track in turn 3. Gets it gathered up and looked like Heasley may have kissed the wall there. Not uncommon to see the drivers kissing that wall out of turn 4, especially on the long run. The problem will come if they do more than kiss. DJ Kenner now up into 6th place. Mark Nelson has drifted back to 7th, but Albie, who qualified on the front row, now back in 8th, hoping he can hold on to that top 10 spot. Mark Dantuma now up into 10th. Richie West now in 11th. Chris Stroop in 12th. Rick Sargent in 13th. Gorman now up to 14th as he continues his march forward. Heasley losing some ground on the high side. Jeff Hinkle comes by to take 4th. Meanwhile, Kevin Reed and Ray Hillhouse still battle for 2nd place. Jared Power moves it off turn 4, manages to hold on to 4th and hold Hinkle off. Albie Ewan still holding on to 8th. DJ Kenner up on the high side trying to get by Jeff Hinkle. That is the battle for 5th. The Iceman saw the opening on the high side, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to capitalize on it here. Rick Sargent back in 13th, trying to close the gap as the cars battle ahead. Chris Stroop now on the attack, trying to get around Richie West. Gerald Poole, meanwhile, battling with Mark Dantuma. Dantuma getting by to take 9th place as he tries to make his way forward. Jeff Hinkle sends it deep into turn 1, now looking underneath Jared Heasley. Meanwhile, Kyle Holden is now checked out. His lead almost 3 seconds over Ray Hillhouse. Ray Hillhouse in 2nd, Kevin Reed in 3rd, Heasley and Hinkle still battling for 4th and 5th. DJ Kenner battling with Mark Nelson for 6th. As we mentioned, Nelson was struggling here in practice, but something has come around. He is starting to move forward again. Meanwhile, the top, we've got 3 cars about to get 3 wide off 2. Heasley backs out of it. Oh, Heasley is in the wall. He gets it pulled down, but lost a ton of momentum. Heasley now goes back to the bottom, takes a position from Kevin Reed. Kevin kisses the wall off turn 2, and Mark Nelson is reeling him in. DJ Kenner, Albie Ewans right behind. Mark Dantuma closing in. Richie West holds on to 10th, but Gerald Thanos Poole was looking low into 1. Chris Stroop has caught him. Stroop now up to 12th. Rick Sargent in 13th. David Gorman now up to 14th. Gorman, who had an EOL, has been fighting his way forward since the drop of the green. And it appears Mike Smith is out early. Hopefully Race Control can provide an update as to what happened. Mike, after lap 7, just gone. Looks like he may have just gotten disconnected. Jeff Hinkle now making his way forward in third place. Jared Heasley in fourth. Hinkle, known as the best at tire saving here. Late in the run, always look for Hinkle to move forward. Hey, good evening to Bobby. Thanks for the like. Kyle Holden's lead 3.3 seconds over Ray Hillhouse. Jeff Hinkle sits in third, Mark Nelson in fourth, Jared Heasley in fifth, DJ the Iceman Kenner in sixth, Mark Dantuma battling with Albie Ewens. That is the battle for seventh. Albie, who started on the front row, faded early, but seems to be making a comeback. Mark Dantuma, who started back in 11th, though, trying to make his way forward. Both of these drivers right now in the playoff bubble. Ray Hillhouse, who sits in second place at the moment after last week's race, ended up 12th in points, trying to pick up as much ground as he can here tonight, hoping for a better finish and hoping for a more secure position going into Talladega next week. Now, Katie Smith, as always, cheering on Ray Hillhouse. Mark Nelson, who started fourth, faded as far back as eighth. You heard him in pre-race saying he was really struggling here. I think this might be the kind of struggling AJ Godsey does. Mark already back up into fourth. Meanwhile, a big battle forming back behind. Jared Heasley and DJ Kenner battling for fifth, with Albie and Mark Dantuma lurking right behind. Richie West also making his way back up into the picture. Kevin Reed has really faded here on the long run as David Garman goes by to take 11th. Kevin started in fourth, has dropped back, or started in fifth, has dropped back to 12th. Meanwhile, Kyle Holden continuing to check out his lead, now 4 1/4 seconds. Ray Hillhouse has a 2.1 second lead over third place Jeff Hinkle at the moment. Mark Nelson is closing in. Albie Ewens has fought his way back up into the top 5. Jared gets a big run up to the high side, almost got a run on DJ rather. And Mark Dantuma takes advantage of a little bit of checking up ahead of him. He goes to the bottom. Dantuma now to 7th. Richie West following him through. Oh, a little bobble out of Dantuma. Richie right to his bumper. We talked about how loose these go. Oh, Heasley's in the wall again. We talked about how loose these cars seem to be here tonight. Kyle, we were all wondering where the heck you were. Kyle Mundell coming into tonight 6th in points, missing the race, trapped at the airport in Chicago. Kyle Mundell, since that win at Road America, has moved up the points every single week. 2 wins, 7 top 5s. Going into Talladega next week, he may lose a little ground here in the points. He's going to have a fight on his hands. Kyle Holden just lapped Donald Durant for the first time. Durant's currently running in 17th, the first car to go a lap down. 5 laps away from the competition caution. Mundell cheering on Chris Stroop. Stroop currently up 6 spots into 10th place. Kyle, I kind of figured this would be one of those races you'd be battling for a podium, if not the win. Ray Hillhouse in second. Mark Nelson has made his way back up into third. You and me both, Kyle. I got my first iRacing win here in a truck. Jeff Hinkle now at fourth. Albie Hewen still holds on to a top 5 spot. If we go from the competition caution, if it continues to stay green, things could get mighty interesting as we see some of these drivers being exponentially faster on the old tires. Kyle Holden 1 lap away from the competition caution. Kyle, that is kind of ironic. Wild Bill trying to hold off Kyle Holden until that caution comes out. Canadian Stig right in front. Holden crosses the line. Caution is out. The competition caution. Lap 45. We heard Mark Nelson talk about how slow he was, how off he felt, and how he had no chance here tonight. He fell back as far as 8th, has worked his way back up into 3rd. But Albie Hewens on the long run has been on a tear. Albie came into tonight 11th in points. He's got to make up some ground to put himself in a safe place. Richie West currently sits 10th in points, just 8 points ahead. Albie doing exactly what he needs to do here tonight. Same with Ray Hillhouse. All the drivers will head to pit road for tires and fuel. Oh, Kyle Holden almost missed pit road. He's going to lose ground on pit road. That pit road entry is a little bit tricky. As all the drivers hit pit road, it looks like Donald Durant gets the lucky dog. He'll come around. See if we can dial up his cockpit cam. He should be coming in this time. No, he is not coming to pit road. He'll be in next time by, and we'll try and get a look at that pit road entry. But Ray Hillhouse looks like he's going to come off pit. No! Somehow Kyle Holden manages to get off pit road first. And let's see if we can get a quick word with Albie. Hey, Albie, it's Doug. You got me?
I do. How's it going?
Hey, man, good, but I gotta say, dude, the start of this race, you started in second, you faded really quick, and then about 20 laps in, you were off like a bullet and just started going back by everybody.
Yeah, I just know how tires go here, and no sense fighting like that early in the run, so I let them do what they wanted.
Well, it definitely is paying off, man. You come in tonight 11th in points, but you're doing exactly what you need to do to move up and give yourself a little safe bubble going into Talladega.
Yeah, that's the plan. Never know what's going to happen at Talladega, so I'd like to leave here as good as I can.
Well, man, you are on the right track. It's been awesome watching so far. Keep it up, buddy.
10-4. Thanks a lot, Doug.
Albie Hewen's on fire tonight. Not nearly as much as Kyle Holden, who had checked out to an almost 5-second lead. See if we can get a word. Hey, Kyle, it's Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug, what's going on?
Almost had an incident there going to pit road, didn't we?
Yeah, we sure did. We were probably flying, and I was like, where's the cone? Where's the cone? And all of a sudden I looked to my left, and there it is. I was like, oh no. So we got to shoot over, and Ray gave us some room to get in there. That was almost there. Almost a tragedy.
It really was, especially considering your lead was almost 5 seconds when the competition caution come out. Obviously, I'm assuming you expect to pull off the same trick here in a minute.
Yeah, I'm just hoping to just kind of run my line and just trying to run my race here and see how it goes.
Well, man, good luck. I know there's a lot of hungry drivers trying to secure their playoff position right behind you, so good luck because you're going to have your hands full.
I appreciate it, Doug.
Kyle Holden comes into the playoffs, or comes in tonight with the points lead, has a 23-point lead over Mark Nelson. That being said, there is a lot of drivers that do not have a secure playoff position yet. Hey, Richie, how's it going, buddy? How you doing tonight? Are you looking forward to tomorrow night? Tomorrow night, folks, we'll be back at 8:30 Eastern tomorrow night. Jones BS Racing, the Legends, followed by the late models. The Legends are at the Legends Oval at Charlotte. Richie Joplin, a lot of the Nowski guys will be there as well. Pace car is in. Kyle Holden controls the start. He fires. Green flag back in the air. A big week of racing this week. Tomorrow night, Jones BS Racing. Tuesday night, XCal is back. Wednesday night, the Nowski Nation Truck Series is back. A lot of awesome broadcasting this week and a lot of awesome in-car streams. We'll have a lot more trucking, some farming, and a whole lot more as we update the website. We're going to have be putting up a stream schedule too, but you can expect some in-car, or in-truck rather, Angie driving over the next few days. Garmin, who had an EOL, had to start at the back of the field, fought his way forward all throughout that first part of the race, now marching his way up again, Garmy in 10th. Ray Hillhouse in second, trying to keep Holden in his sights. Mark Nelson in third. Here comes Jeff Hinkle, though. Hinkle currently running in fourth. DJ the Iceman Kenner in fifth. Richie West now up into sixth place. Richie, another one kind of on the bubble for the playoffs, currently sitting 10th in points. Just 13 points ahead of Ray Hillhouse, and going into Talladega, caution. Caution is out for the first time tonight, lap 53. And it looks like Canadian Stig is involved. Stig down on the bottom underneath. Oh, snaps loose out of two. Great save by Wild Bill to not get involved. We've been talking all night long about the race car being loose out here. Ray Hill sits in second. Rick Sargent, the only driver coming in, it looks like. And let's see if we can get a word with the third place car. Hey, Mark, it's Doug. You got me?
Gotcha.
Hey, you know, there's those times where you hear AJ Godsey say, I'm struggling here, and that's usually when he goes out and dominates a race. So, are you pulling an AJ tonight?
You know, I really wish that was the case, but AJ can actually get away with lying like that because he knows he's full of poo, but I know I'm not.
I have to say, man, we saw you drop to 8th really early on, but as the run went on, you just kept marching forward. Is the car coming to you that much?
Well, I did something pretty stupid there and decided to pass on the inside, and the outside is kind of the lane you want to be in, so I messed myself over pretty quick. I'm kind of a long run person, so that did help me. I think everyone's rear tires were probably giving up on them, and mine were comfortable, so hopefully it continues.
Well, I hope so, man. It's great knowing you're one of the top 3 in the points, seeing you be able to hold on to it, knowing how much you were struggling in practice. So good luck tonight, buddy.
Thank you, Doug.
Ray Hillhouse sits in second. Hey, Ray, it's Doug. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, quick question, man. You are extremely fast out there tonight. Do you have anything for Kyle?
I don't think so. He was even saving tires better than me right there. So maybe if I can take 2 tires at the end and give him a run like last week. But no, I think Kyle's going to be the man to beat.
Well, man, you've looked awfully fast, and at times your lap time's a hair faster, but by the time you start gaining ground, it seems like it's really late in the run. Hopefully, everything falls your way here. Love to see you back in victory lane tonight.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we'll see. Be nice.
Ray Hillhouse currently in second, but Kyle Holden is the man to beat. Jared Heasley is loving the track. Who doesn't love racing in Iowa? Heasley currently in 8th, and you guys know that MS Society car, I'm always rooting for that car to get to victory lane. Lights are out, they stack back up side by side for the restart. Kyle Holden, Ray Hillhouse, Jeff Hinkle, Mark Nelson, DJ Kenner, your top 5. Short track racing and only 1 caution tonight. We don't count the competition caution. Here we go. Pace car is in. Holden controls the start. He fires. They're away. Green back in the air. Jeff Hinkle looked like he might have been a little slow getting going. DJ gets down underneath, has the nose in, off turn 2. Whoa, things get really tight that time off turn 4. Mark Dantuma lurking right behind. DJ Kenner now up to 5th. The Iceman making his way forward all over the bumper of Jeff Hinkle. Hinkle now looking underneath Mark Nelson. Mark clears him out of 4. Hillhouse staying within striking distance for the moment on Kyle Holden. DJ gets a huge run out of turn 2. Easily shoots his way up into 4th. Mark Dantuma starting to make his way toward the front despite having the deficiency of driving a Ford. Hey, good evening, Cody. How are you? Oh, Kyle Holden, the leader, gets a little bit of the wall out of turn 2. DJ looking underneath Mark Nelson. DJ Kenner looking for third here. Hinkle shoots underneath. They're 3 wide off 2. Oh! Mark gets a little bit loose there. DJ managing to avoid it. Hinkle now underneath DJ. Kyle Holden, meanwhile, in the lead, is pulled out to an 0.8 of a second lead on Hillhouse. Mark Nelson in third, DJ Kenner in fourth, Jeff Hinkle in fifth. Mark Dantuma in sixth, Heasley on the high side looking for seventh from Richie West. Richie's currently running in eighth, started in 12th, up 4 spots. New paint scheme tonight for Richie West. Could that bring him some luck here? Kevin Reed in ninth, Gourmet in 10th. Kevin back up to ninth after pit stops. He was really off that first part of the race. Drifted way back after starting in 5th, back to about 15th. We'll see if he's figured out something for the long run here. Garmin up top. Albie looks down to the bottom. Stroop almost made it 3 wide. Jeff Hinkle looking back underneath DJ. Heasley right behind, battling with Mark Dantuma. Jared, don't let that Ford pass you. A lot of side-by-side battling up here at the front, but the leader is gone. Kyle Holden now has a 1 1/4 second lead over Ray Hillhouse. Mark Nelson holds on to third. Everything else behind still up for grabs. Oh, Mark Dantuma gets loose. He manages to prevent a big one, but wow, that was a close call. Dantuma right side damage. He has got to hope for a caution to get that car in for repairs. DJ Kenner now to 4th, Hinkle in 5th, Heasley in 6th. Mark Dantuma came in tonight 5th in points. He has been picking up 1 or 2 spots week in and week out to put himself up in the top 5, but he is going to lose some ground. Fortunately, 6th place Kyle Mundell, 7th place AJ Godsey, both out of the race, or not here tonight rather. Kevin Reed is 8th in points, but about 23 points back, so Dantuma should hold on to his top 3 spot. Kevin Reed currently running in 8th, came in tonight 8th in points. Dantuma has gone to pit road. The car is repaired. Mark now a couple laps down, but far fresher tires than everybody else. Can he make up some ground? Oh, Richie's loose right in front. He saves it. What a save by Richie West. Let's take a look at that incident. Richie West trying to get by Chris Stroop. They were battling for position. Richie just pushes up on corner entry, has to back out, taps the brakes, and the back end goes around, but Richie managing to save it. Ray Hillhouse still holds on to second. Mark Nelson in third. DJ Kenner and Jeff Hinkle battle for fourth. Heasley lurking right behind. And we're talking about Mark Dantuma on fresher tires. It may not seem like that 25 lap fresher tires would make a big difference, but watch the closing rate on the cars ahead. Especially down here through 1 and 2, Mark is going to be able to get further into the corner and pick the throttle up a lot sooner. Easily gets down underneath Albie as he begins to attack. Now by Kevin Reed, he's trying to fight his way back to the lead lap the old-fashioned way. Jeff Hinkle now looking for third place on Mark Nelson. Ray Hillhouse has to love what he's seeing in his mirror. He's able to sit there in second place, play it fairly safe for the moment. These guys behind, side by side, using their tires up a lot more. But Hillhouse now 3 seconds behind leader Kyle Holden. Since the restart, lap 57, Kyle just continues to pull away. Everybody hit pit road on lap 45. We know they can go 80 to 85 laps on a tank of fuel. They have had 4 caution laps, which use far less fuel, as Mark Nelson's going to go on the attack for second place. Mark Dantuma also on fresh tires coming around to unlap himself. Dantuma is going to clear the top or second and third place. And did Dantuma just open the door for Jeff Hinkle? Mark Nelson was attacking for second place. When Dantuma came by on the fresh tires, Jeff Hinkle just shoots it down into turn 3, gets a big run in, but Mark Nelson has a better run off Jeff. Jared Heasley and DJ Kenner, a close call. Heasley is in trouble. Jared trying to keep the car off DJ, yanks it hard down and ends up going through the grass. Manages to save it, but lost a lot of track position. David Gorman, who had an EOL to start the race and started making his way forward from the drop of the green, has pulled his way up into 6th place. Albie Hewins lurking right behind him in 7th. On the restart, Albie went back. But again, we saw him start in 2nd, go as far back as 8th. But by the end of the run, back in the top 5, Albie just playing the strategy, saving some tires and picking up spots one at a time. Mark Nelson able to hold Jeff Hinkle off for the moment. DJ Kenner lurking in 5th. Gorman in 6th. Albie in 7th. Chris Stroop, though, biggest mover of the night so far, up to 8th place after starting in 16th. Jared Heasley in no. Kevin Reed gets loose off 4, holds on to it in 10th. Jared, who was battling for a top 5 position before getting loose out of turn 4, currently came in tonight 9th in points. He is one of those drivers kind of on the bubble, at risk of losing, being knocked out of the playoffs if he has problems next week at Talladega. Could we see the return of Ricky Bobby to next Sunday night to make sure Heasley goes to the playoffs? Ray Hillhouse in 2nd. There's still a battle on for 3rd. Mark Nelson, Jeff Hinkle, DJ Kenner lurking right behind in 5th. Garmin in 6th. Albie in 7th. Mark Dantuma just passed the leader to get one of his laps back. Does he have enough time with those fresh tires? And are they fresh enough to get him back around and pick up another lap? Last time by, the leader, Kyle Holden, ran a 25:32. Mark Dantuma, 24:68, almost a second a lap faster, with 23 lap fresher tires. Donald Durant's in the matching car here tonight, currently running in 16th with the parrot polish on the side. Canadian Stig currently running in 15th. Wild Bill Percy having a quiet night back in 14th, battling with 13th place Rick Surgeon. A 3-car battle for 10th as Kevin Reed, Richie West, and Gerald Poole go at it. Richie shoots it to the bottom and takes a position, a little bobble out of Kevin Reed again. Rick Sargent, Wild Bill not far behind, closing in as they battle. Kevin now in 11th place. Gerald Poole looking underneath to take it. And it looks like Kyle Holden is starting to put some cars a lap down as he comes by Donald Durant. Jeff Hinkle back on the attack on Mark Nelson. This time goes to the high side and completes the pass. Hinkle now to third. Sets his sights on Ray Hillhouse in second. Hinkle is known. Wild Bill is on pit road. Hinkle is known as the king of tire saving Looks like it's paying off here in the late run. Mark Nelson in third. Now has DJ the Iceman Kenner looking at his back bumper. Albie Hewins now to 6th. Gourmet in 7th. Stroop in 8th. Wild Bill completed his pit stop and is rolling back out on track. We know a lot, if not all of the drivers will have to make a fuel stop here tonight. And as we saw with Kyle Holden had that very close call going to pit road under the competition caution. Anything could happen here under green flag pit stops. Wild Bill now back in 17th, but here he comes on fresh tires. Can he take advantage of the fresh Goodyears and make his way forward? Kevin Reed gets a little bit of the wall. Kevin's back in the wall. Kyle Holden's lead now 7 seconds over second place Ray Hillhouse. Hillhouse has a 1 1/4 second lead on third place Jeff Hinkle. Mark Nelson still in 4th, and look who just came by, DJ the Iceman Kenner up to 5th, Albie Hewins. Coming to the competition caution, Albie was making his way forward one car at a time. Albie now looks underneath Mark Nelson to take 4th. Jeff Hinkle sits in 3rd. Albie closing the gap on him quickly. Pretty impressive to run down Jeff Hinkle on a long run. Hinkle extremely good at taking care of the car, making it last, making the tires last. If you're running him down on a long run, you are doing something right. Albie's on fire tonight. Ray Hillhouse still sitting in 2nd place, but unable to gain any ground on Kyle Holden. Mark Nelson still holding on to 5th, lurking right there. DJ right there with him. Garmin not far behind. Chris Stroop in 8th. Heasley now up to 9th. Heasley was running in the top 5 until the early incident off turn 4 sent him through the grass. He recovered in 10th and has managed to run Stroop down. Kevin Reed is on pit road. According to our notes, these drivers from their competition caution on lap 46 are 5 to 10 laps short on fuel. They did have a few pace laps in there. It could be close for a few of them. One driver it will not be close for, Mark Dantuma. Now Bill Percy and Kevin Reed have also completed their stops. But can the leader go the distance on fuel from here? Hillhouse still sits in second. Albie in third now. What an impressive run it has been for Albie here tonight. Jeff Hinkle sitting in fourth. Mark Nelson in fifth. DJ in sixth. David Garman in seventh. Chris Stroop in eighth. Jared Easley in ninth. Richie West currently runs in 10th. Stroop and Easley now battling. That's the battle for 8th place. Easley clears him going into turn 1. Stroop still an amazing run. The biggest mover of the night, up 7 spots into 9th. Rick Sargent currently running in 11th. Gerald Poole in 12th. Canadian Stig is 13th. Donald Durant's in 14th. Mark Dantuma now up to 15th. Kevin Reed in 16th. And Wild Bill in 17th. Kyle Holden setting his sights on Gerald Poole to put him a lap down. Gerald currently in 12th. Kevin Reed now on 4 fresh Goodyears, trying to make up some ground himself. Albie Hewins is now closing in on Ray Hillhouse. 19 laps to go. But the big question is, the top 10, will they need to stop? Obviously, quite a few drivers did not think they could go the distance. We saw Bill Percy and Kevin Reed on pit road. "17 laps to go for Kyle Holden, looking for win number 6 this season." And Albie Hewins has caught Ray Hillhouse. He's going to go for second. Albie side-by-side drag race down into turn 1. Albie clears him going into 1. Hillhouse tries to cross back over but doesn't have the momentum. Albie Hewins now to second. Ray Hillhouse in third. Jeff Hinkle, Mark Nelson still reeling them in. DJ Kenner sitting back in 6th. Gorman in 7th. Heasley now up to 8th. Stroop in 9th. Richie West in 10th. Meanwhile, while Kyle Holden is putting cars laps down, guys like Kevin Reed and Bill Percy are working their way back toward the front to unlap themselves. Mark D'Antuma, who had problems earlier, is closing the gap now on Canadian Stig. Now just 5 seconds back and gaining quickly. But will the top 10 need to pit? 12 laps to go. 10 cars officially left on the lead lap. After Kyle Holden lapped Rick Sargent a moment ago. Albie sits in second, Ray Hillhouse in third. Albie is 12.3 seconds back from Kyle Holden. However, he is matching or beating Holden's lap times every single lap. Laps to go, and this is where we find out who has the fuel. Will we see late race splash and goes, or will we see anybody run out of fuel on the way to the finish line? Kyle Holden now lapping Richie West in 10th. Albie continuing to close in on the leader, but 8 laps to go. He won't have the time. Hillhouse still looking at a podium finish here in 3rd. Jeff Hinkle, Mark Nelson, and DJ Kenner 4th, 5th, and 6th. Garmin back in 7th, and Heasley has caught Garmin. Heasley goes back up to 7th. Oh, Heasley gets loose off 4 again. Garmin gets back by, takes 7th place. Mark D'Antuma has made his way back up into 13th, trying to reel in Gerald Poole for 12th. Still no word on what happened to Mike Smith in the first part of this race. Kyle Holden now setting his sights on Stroop and Canadian Stig to put him another lap down. Oh! Chris Stroop is around. Caution is out. The leader is involved. Lap 131. 4 laps to go. Let's take a look and see what the heck just happened. The leader coming up behind. Oh, Stroop just pushes up into Canadian Stig and goes around. The leader, Kyle Holden, gets caught in it. And now we're going to go to a green-white checkered finish at Iowa. Oh, getting word Mike Smith lost his internet connection. Kyle Holden on pit road. Everybody's coming in. Looks like Holden may have minimal front end damage. He was going fairly slow when the incident happened. Everybody on the lead lap just hit pit road, and this might be the one chance these drivers have of taking that top spot from Kyle Holden. Richie West managed to pick up a spot and get back to the lead lap due to that incident. Chris Troop also gets to come back. Looks like he will be waved around, as will Gerald Thanos Poole. Mark Dantuma will also be waved back to the lead lap. And what a shakeup this is. Richie West comes off pit road in second. Jeff Hinkle in third. Albie in fourth. Jared Heasley looks like he took 2 tires. He comes out in fifth. Ray Hillhouse now in 6th, Mark Nelson 7th, DJ Kenner 8th, David Garman 9th, Chris Stroop in 10th. Gerald Poole, Mark Dantuma back on the lead lap, 11th and 12th. Kevin Reed has had a problem and I am not sure what happened to Reed. He is now several laps down. Richie West is back down pit road. I think he was the lucky dog and ended up getting waved around, so it looks like he will get 4 fresh tires and drop to the back. Things are about to get a little crazy here, folks. Jeff Hinkle, Albie Ewins, Jared Heasley, one more shot at the leader. Lights are out on the pace car. They begin stacking back up side by side. Holden and Hinkle on the front row. Hewins and Heasley on the second row. Hillhouse and Nelson on the third row. DJ Kenner, David Garman, Richie West, Chris Stroop rounding out your top 10. Gerald Poole, Mark Dantuma round out the lead lap cars. Pace car is in, Holden in control. Kyle fires there, away, green back in the air. 2 to go. Holden gets a perfect launch. Remember, Heasley is the only car on right side tires only. Will that help? Oh, a big bobble out of turn 2. Jeff Hinkle on the attack. Does he have anything? White flag is in the air. one more time around for Kyle Holden. They are trying to get 3 wide again, mid-pack. Mark Nelson gets a bobble. DJ Kinner's down. And out of turn 4, despite the incident, Kyle Holden wins at Iowa. Jeff Hinkle comes home second. Albie Hewins comes home in third. Jared Easley makes 2 tires work for fourth. Garmin comes home in fifth. What a wild final lap. Let's talk to our top 3, starting with Albie Hewins. Albie, honestly, I thought you had a second place car until that caution came out.
Yeah, I really didn't want to see it. Maybe 20, 25 laps ago I wouldn't have minded, but yeah, I didn't want to see it there. I knew it'd be crazy.
I have to say, before the caution came out, you were actually reeling Kyle in. It looked like if it was a longer green flag run, you might have been able to do something to him.
Yeah, I definitely would have needed a lot more time. I pretty much knew after that first run, without him having a bad luck, I didn't have much for it.
Well, it's a huge night for the points, and finally getting you on the podium. It's long overdue. Man, congratulations, Albie.
Yeah, it definitely is. Thanks a lot, Doug. I appreciate it.
Albie Hewins finally on the podium in BRR competition. Expect a lot more out of him. Jeff Hinkle comes home in second. Jeff, did you have anything for Kyle on that restart?
No, I sure didn't. He was the king of the field all night. I was listening to his lap times, and they were 2 or 3 tenths faster than mine the whole night. So, and I stole a second place anyway by changing 2 tires there at the end. I was probably a 5th place car there.
I didn't even realize till just now you had taken 2 tires, but obviously the strategy worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it sure did. I'll take that. I'm on the losing end of that most of the time, so it's nice to be on this end of it.
Oh man, another great night. You come in 4th, and with Stroop and Nelson both having late race problems, you'll pick up a lot of ground going into the playoffs.
Oh, that's great. Look at Albie.
I
Congratulations to
know.
Albie. That was a hell of a run. He was fast tonight.
He definitely was. It was definitely long overdue. And the only person I've ever seen run you down and pass you on a long run like that.
He did it with no problem at all.
He did. Great job tonight, Jeff.
All right, thanks, Doug.
And finally, our winner, Kyle, that almost went completely wrong.
Yeah, we late caution there, but luckily we were able to come down pit road and still get hold first and get a good restart as you do in first place, and just kind of held it for the win.
I have to say, when Stroop got loose in front of you, I thought that might have been the end. You managed to get woed up and really didn't impact the car much.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, so then I didn't really have anywhere to go, so I just locked him up and just hopefully I hit him square enough, and it only got a 4X for it, so it was only about like 30 seconds of damage, so I was like, it shouldn't be too much, and it wasn't too much, so it was good.
Well, man, it all worked out. You come home with your 6th win of the season and going into the playoffs an even bigger gap.
I appreciate it, Doug. This is thanks for Martin Sports and for you doing the broadcast, man. Love watching them.
All right, buddy. Congratulations, man.
Thanks.
Wow. Kyle Holden wins despite a late race incident catching him, and what a night. Albie Hewins finally on the podium, too. I am ecstatic about that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget, next Sunday night, Talladega, the final race before the playoffs. Tomorrow, Jones BS Racing is back. The Legends, followed by the late models, and Angie's in a Legends car. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope y'all had as much fun as we did. We'll see you on stream tomorrow morning. Have a great night, everybody.